Hello everyone. So today we're going to see about some of the basic concept of the Python and NumPy. With respect to in my last lecture, I explained about how to install NumPy, and we have run the various command as well, like how to create an array and how to perform some mathematical operation. So those all things we have covered in that lecture. In this lecture, I will going to give you some more basic concept on the Python so that you can get more familiarity with that. So let's start doing that. In case anything you find difficulty or not clear, you can ask me anytime.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's start doing that. Suppose we have already seen, but still there are in the data engineering, you might need, suppose if you are working with a machine learning project or data analysis project, you should know like how to perform some mathematical operation. And we have seen the same in the previous lecture, that how to perform mathematical operations. So let's going to do that. So like if we want to create an array in NumPy, how do we create it? So for that, first of all, we have to just import the library. Okay. So as you can see here, let me explain you once again. So suppose when you want to install the NumPy, you just have to write down this in Jupyter Anaconda, pip install NumPy and run it. So as this is already installed, so it will give you the requirement already satisfied. But in case if it is not installed, it will going to take some time and will install it in your system. Like you can see, it's showing requirement already satisfied. Then you just have to import it in your program. Import NumPy as, if you want to give an alias name, because it's a very large to use every time. So you can give anything, either np, either p, either a, either n, anything you can give it. So I'm giving import numpy as n, and you can create an array here. So how you can create an array? This all we have seen it, like n dot array. Array is what? A collection of an homogeneous data element that we have seen. Homogeneous means of similar type. Okay, so here I'm just creating one array. Then we're going to look into some other stuff. So just to give you an idea, so you can see here that I created an array, right? This array is of a homogeneous data element. All are numeric, right? So here, this way you can create an array and you can access as well very easily. Suppose these are the element. So if you are aware about the array, you might be aware that we use indexing. Indexing means, in order to access an element, you have to use index, that is in the form of rows and column. So suppose if you want to access the element, suppose this 3, so it is a row number, it always start from 0. So suppose if you want to access an element, so it will be like this: 0 comma So you can see it is printing 3, right? What is this? This is a row and column. First one is your row. Always remember that whether it is row or column, the index always start from 0. So first one row is here 0 and column is here 2. So this way you can access the element. This we have seen in the last class. In addition to this, there are a few more functions that we should aware. So let me tell you that as well. So you can see here that whenever you want to create any array of 2 cross 2, 2 cross 2 means 2 rows and 2 column, and you want every element to be same, then you can give it like this. Uh, if you remember, Herman, we have seen n dot 0, np dot 0, we were calling two function, zeros and 1, right? So there
Yes.
all the element was coming similar, like 1 and 0. So there is one more function that mostly ask in the interview, like how you can use full function to print all the same element. So note down this. I will going to share the file as well. Usually, many times they ask like how you can get the same element in an array. So with the help of full function, you can give it. Full means all the element will be same. Hetinder, anywhere, if it is not clear, please ask me. Okay. So this function you can use it. Similarly, if you want a random function, so how you can use it? Random dot rand function, and you can just pass the rows and column that in how many rows you want. So suppose I want in a 4 rows and 2 column. So I'm passing this and let run this. So you can see here it is printing the random value, and whenever you will going to run this, like it will going to just change the value. Now you see first 55, right? Again I will going to
Yes.
run it. Again I will going to run, it will going to change, right? So it is a random value with the help of rand. What is this random dot rand? Random is a library. In that library, rand is one function which is accepting index. Any question?
So this one, when you say
Yes.
4 and 2, what does that mean?
This
That means rows and columns.
Yeah. So that is mean 4 row and 2 column. You can see here this is creating an array of 4 rows and 2 column. You can see one row, second row, third row, fourth row, and two
Why
column we
why
have.
are all the numbers less than zero? Is that there is that also takes that into consideration that why everything is less than one?
Yeah, but random library they give a value between 0 and 1, but you can
I
change it
see.
as well. Uh,
I see. I
we
see.
can change
Makes
it
sense.
this one. If you want to increase the value, we can change it.
I see. I see.
So similarly, there is a few more function. Just a minute. Now, like suppose if you want to print like a diagonal element, okay, or you can take suppose, okay, you want to take a value on a certain range, then how you can take that value? Like as you asked me the question, so let's see that as well. Dot random. So if you want to take a value in the range, you can just write down like this and pass the size of an array. Suppose let me take 4 cross 4 and run this. So when you will going to see here, so here you can see that what are the value that you are getting. It is in the range of 4 to 8. Let me change this to 1 to 8.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So it will going
I
to be
see.
change every time. The value will be going to change, and the value will be in the range of 1 to 8. Normally, this is to perform some operation. Like in
Mhm.
my when we're going to start up programs in the Python, I will going to teach you like how you can generate OTP number with this random library, and those will all will going to see here. So remember one thing, that rand int is one function to generate a random value to an array. If you want to perform some operation, you can use it. Similarly, if you want to just print a diagonal element, then for that there is a function called identity function, which means that it will going to only print the diagonal element. So suppose if you pass it here 5, it will going to create an element. Okay, sorry, not np, n, because I have created n here. So you can see here it is creating an array of 5 cross 5 because I pass 5 here. This identity function means identity element. Identity means diagonal element. All the diagonal element will remain same, that is 1, and rest will be 0. So this is called an identity element. If you have studied matrix in mathematics in your schooling, you might be aware about it. Matrix, that identity element is represented with I. Do you remember that matrix?
Yes. Yeah, whenever you multiply it,
Yeah,
the value remains the same.
yes. So identity element is represented with I. Even if you don't remember, is not a big deal here. The only thing is that, okay, sorry. The only thing is that, identity element, when you multiply with any array, you will get the same. Now, one more thing, like suppose if I say you, okay, that you have to repeat any row, how you can repeat it? Like suppose if I say that I want this row to be repeated multiple time, suppose 3 time, 4 time, how you can do that? Either you can read it and you can print it, right? You can read in an array and you can print it. There is another way as well, that you can create an array. These are the basic thing, but usually they in the interview they ask, and you might be aware, so that when you are going to do data engineering or data analysis, you should be aware about it. So suppose this array I have created it, okay, and I'm printing this. So suppose if you want to print this multiple time, so how you can do it? You can create one variable r. This is another approach I'm telling. Create an r and just write n dot repeat, and to what you want to repeat, you just pass the array name. Okay, how many time you want to repeat? Suppose let's 5 time you want to repeat, and in what manner, x is 0 or x is 1. So let's x is 0 means row wise you want to repeat. So you can see here that same this element is repeating 5 times, right? You can see 1 2 3 4 5. If I change this 5 to 3 and run this again, it will be repeating 3 times. Now the question is, what is x is 0? X is 0 means row wise you want to print those. Okay, x is 0 means you have wanted to print that in a row wise you are considering those value. So it means 0. Let me change this, try with 1, what impact will come. So now you see that like when I use it 1, it is repeating single element column wise, it is taking, like it is taking a first one, it will going to repeat it 3 times, then next time it will going to take second and then repeat it, third time it will going to consider this, repeat it. So it is considering column wise, like first column repeating 3 times, second column, not row wise. So this is the difference. So don't get confused, like what is an x is 0 and x is 1. X is 0 means you will going to consider every row and then repeat it. But x is 1, if this says, then in x is 1 every column you will going to consider and repeat it. Is, do you understand the difference between these two?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you can see here that it is repeating, right? So like whenever we perform data analysis or in the data engineering, right now we are just learning basic Python. But when we start with any project, especially in the data analysis project or data science, in the data engineering, so you this function will going to be helpful, like how you can access the element and how you can repeat the element row wise, column wise, in the multiple rows in Excel sheet. There will be a multiple rows, right? How you can access those rows either column wise, row wise. Normally we every process row of the column, right? In an Excel sheet multiple rows are there. So in that case you will going to use x is 0. But if you want to access a single column, if you want to access a single column, then we use x is 1. So this is about repeat function. Similarly, you can do it for cos function, trigonometric function also you can apply it here. Like suppose a is equal to 1 and you want to apply here a cos function. So you can just write n dot cos and pass the variable, or you can just take it like this and run this. So it will going to find it out the cos function for this 1, right? Similarly, you can try it for 30. So it will going to give what? So you can change it, right? The value can be changed and you can try it as well here. The cos function, sine function, the different kind of function you can apply it here. Now we're going to do some statistical operation. The most important part is how to do some statistical operation in this. Suppose let's take an example of okay, let me create a new array. So suppose we create an new array. We are creating a new array. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the next one, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is one array I declare it here. Now, if you want to find out some minimum element in this, how you can find out minimum element? Anyone, do you know which function we're going to use it here?
We use
Oh,
min.
Yes, correct. And
Say
you're going
min
to,
and max, right?
yeah. So you're going to pass min and just find it out. Just pass the variable name and run it. So it will going to give you the minimum element. You can see the minimum element is 1 here. Okay. Similarly, if you want to find out the maximum element, okay, if you want to find out the maximum element, you just pass max function and you just call max function, and to that you need to pass the like variable name, means array name, and you want to pass column wise or like how the maximum, so you can do like this. So here in the particular column, the 5 and 10 are the maximum value. Okay, similar step if you want to do it in axis 0.
So if it doesn't matter how deep that array is, right?
Yeah.
For example, if there's a JSON object or something like that, we can search in that also.
JSON.
Like a structure like that, right? If there is an
Yes.
object structure.
Yeah. So suppose if there is a different file like CSV or JSON file, text file, there also you can do it, but there we're going to, yeah, there we're going to do pandas library. So there,
I
while
see, I see.
processing those EDA that call exploratory data analysis and all, there you can do it. But with the help of NumPy as well, you can do it. We can call NumPy and we can pass the column name here and axis 0. So now you can see that when I did axis 1, based on the column, it find it out the maximum value. But when I do axis 0, in the whole column, which are the maximum, they have given it here. So while axis 0, it is giving the whole row because it is maximum as compared to the first one. So just be remember like how to use axis 1 and axis 0. And with respect to your question as well, how deep the file is or how large the file is, this function will work. I will going to show you once we do this basic, then I will going to show you in my after 1 or 2 lecture how you can process JSON file, CSV file, text file, and Excel file in Python, pandas library, and how you can do operation on that. So we're going to see that because
Interesting.
basically that is only the data engineering, that how you can access the content of file.
Right.
Similarly, there is one more function np.sum. Oh, sorry. And yeah, so it is giving you the sum based on the row wise, like here 1 and 6, 7, 2 and 7. So it will going to consider the first row and second row. So element wise it is adding. So 1 and 6 is 7, 2, 7 is 9, 3, 8 is 11, 4, 9 is 13, 5, 10 is 15, like that. So if you change it to the 1, it will going to give you 15, which means 5, 4, 9, 9, 3, 12, 12 to 14 and 15. So this is for the first row, and every column it will going to consider for this. So here when you do the sum of this, you will get that. So such kind of an operation, you should be aware about it. Is it clear?
Yes, Amit.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we
Sorry, I
are,
was on mute. I was talking on mute.
okay. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's do some more operations. Suppose here I'm creating a variable a 2 and b is equal to 3. Now here what I'm trying to do here, I'm performing a bitwise operation here. Bitwise operation means 2 when you convert into the binary, it represented like this. And 3 when you convert into binary, it will be represented like this. So when you do the bitwise AND means when both 1, then only you will get 1. How it is, let me explain you. Bitwise AND says that suppose 2 is represented in a binary. Binary means it will be represented in the form of 0 1. Internally it will be convert, because system, they understand whatever we type in the system, whatever we run, they understand the form of binary. So binary representation are there. So 2 is represented internally as a 0 1 0, and 3 is represented as a 0 1 0. Okay, so bitwise AND operator, what this says, when both are 1, okay, this both digit are 1, then only you will get 1. If any one of the 0 or any one of the 1 out of 2, then you will get a 0. It is like a AND operation, like similarly. So here you see that you again got the same. So that's why the output is coming 2 here. Okay, bitwise AND means when both the digit are 1, then the output is 1. When both are 0, it will be 0. Or if any one of the is 0 or 1, if it is different, odd 1, then you will get 0. So it is similar to like an AND operator. AND operator, what does it says? When both condition are true, then only it will be true. So you can think 1 means true. When both condition are true, then only it will be true. Otherwise it will be a false. So are you aware about this binary representation?
Yeah, yes.
Hetinder, you? Okay,
Yes, I'm aware of this. Yes.
okay. Still, if you like, if you want to find out any binary representation of any number, suppose that you don't remember, you want to find it out, how you can find it out? Print binary, and in that binary you just pass the value. For example, so you can see here 0b means binary. It is representing that it's a binary representation, and 10 in a binary is represented with 1010. Okay, similarly, let me show you as well. Let's do it for all the element 1 to 10, so that you should be aware about it. So it is for 2, 3, Okay, let's take it till here. Okay, sorry. Comma will come here. So you can see here the binary representation is coming like this. Okay, for 1 it will be 0 1, 1 0 for 2, 1 1. Don't see this. This is just to represent it is a binary. Binary representation of 1 will be 0 1. For 2 it is 1 0. For 3 is 1 1. For 4 1 0 0. For 7 it will be triple 1. For 8 will be 1000. And for 5 and 6 will be 101 and 110. So this is the representation of binary. Now suppose if you want to shift an element, how you usually shift the element? Shifting means any digit. Suppose if you want to shift the binary digit by, suppose here 5. Okay, so for 5 binary representation is what? 101. Let me run this. So when you run it, it will become 2, right? How it will become 2? It means that the actual it usually considered the binary digit in the 8-bit. So when you consider the 8-bit for in a binary, what will come, right? This is the 8-bit representation. The 5 you can see 101. Okay, but if you can add multiple 0 if you want to represent binary digit in the form of 8-bit. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Is it
Yeah.
clear?
Yes.
See,
Yes.
it is a binary representation, all of this, but there might be a requirement. Suppose your architecture, like processor architectures are like 64-bit, 32-bit, right? What does it mean? That how much bit of data they can save it at a time. Okay, so here suppose it is an 8-bit. Okay, this is an 8-bit architecture, suppose. So this is an 8-bit architecture. So suppose 8-bit you are representing. So now if you want to shift it toward your right, how the shifting operation, whenever you see the relation operator or shifting operator this pointing toward the right, it means that you want to shift the binary representation of 5 toward right by 1. So how it works? It will going to be represented like this. Okay, count it 5 and read. Now you will going to shift by 1. So one, if you're going to shift by 1, okay, so how it will be? The 0 will come here at the end. Okay, 1 will come here. Okay, and all 0 will shift by 1 by 1. Okay, so this all 5. So this 0 will come here. This one will come here. This one will come here. And this one will come here. Okay, and this one will come here. But again it is representing with 7 only. Okay, so what we do, we pad with extra 0 at the start, because this one is shifted, right? How the thing is happening, just try to understand this, that you have a place like this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, now you will going to shift toward your right. So the last element will get lapse, the last element will get disappear, because you are shifting here. So the position of this 1 will be occupied by 0 now. Okay, I repeat once again, when you're going to shift it here, the position of 1 will be occupied by 0, and 1 will be removed from the now current situation. So you will going to shift it. Now at the end you will be left with this, so you will going to pad 0 there. So that's why now 1 0 will be represented in what? 2, a binary representation. So like this it works. Shifting operator, how it works internally inside the memory, like this. Do you understand like how shifting is occurring? They're just occupying the position. Okay, 0 is shifting here, by 1 as you are shifting by 1, then 1 is shifting, then these are our shifting, then we are left with here 1 element, because these are the 8 element. When you shift it here, 7 element will be present. So the last one you are going to pad extra 0, because if you pad 0 before anything, it will be the same number, right? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.